So, as they say, the beginning is the end and the end is the beginning. But this is the end of Dark. We're talking about the series finale, season 3 of Netflix's Dark. What did I think about this season? Did it stick the landing? Will this go down as one of the best sci-fi stories ever told? We're going to talk about that and much more. So season 3 of Dark picks up in 2019, where we find Jonas emerges from a cave into a strange but familiar world, the town of Winden, reeling from the recent disappearance of a young boy. Everybody, and welcome back to my channel, Movie Files. Elliot here today to talk about the season 3 series finale of Netflix's Dark, one of the best shows I've ever seen. We're here to break it all down. As I do with all my Netflix reviews, I'm going to talk about the show in a non-spoiler manner for the first half of the video. So for you all that haven't been able to watch season 3 of Dark, or even the series, just to kind of get someone's thoughts on what the show is all about, this is what the first half of this video is going to be. Just initial thoughts, no spoilers. And then the second half is for my fans out there that have watched season 3, that it's all caught up. They have questions. They have theories. We're going to break it all down in this video. So I'm very excited to be here. But before we dive into this big discussion, as you can see on the screen now, make sure you're following me on all my social media accounts. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my new content. Give this video a thumbs up. Helps out the channel tremendously, but also really appreciate it. And last but not least, comments galore. I want to know your thoughts about this series, this season, your favorite characters, your favorite moments, your theories. Were they answered? What did you think about the last episode, the final moments of this season? Let's have some fun discussion in the comments below. Again, if you are going to spoil anything, again, for those that haven't seen it, put spoilers in the comment section, then kind of go some spaces down and we can talk about spoilers. But this is just an open conversation that I'm going to have mostly in the second half of this video. So starting off the first half, no spoilers, just initial thoughts. As you all may or may not know, just this past Tuesday, I'm recording this on June 28th, I finally watched Dark for the very first time. So from Tuesday all the way to today, Sunday, I've spent the last 6 days watching this show from season 1, 2, and now we're up to season 3. So what an incredible journey. You know, the first season I watched within like a day and a half. The second season I watched within the day. And then this season I watched literally one sitting, in just an incredible journey. So starting off with my thoughts on this season finale, there were times where it was challenging. I'm not going to lie, this is a very challenging show, as I had mentioned in my previous reviews for this show. You know, episode 5 was very critical. Episode 6 was very critical. I was just kind of at the point where I'm just like, okay, are they going to stick the landing? There's a lot of stuff being thrown at us. Very confusing timelines, new characters, different branches, different dimensions, different worlds. And it was kind of challenging, which is one of the things I love about this show is that it challenges its audience. It challenges you to pay attention, to kind of keep up with everything. But, you know, coming off of that, you know, just going back to the positives, it stuck the landing for me, guys. Like, this season was so integral, so detailed. It answered all the questions that I had. Plus, it gave me some things that I didn't know I needed from this show. You know, without getting into the details, as we all know from the end of season 2, we have Martha, who's coming from this other Earth. We'll call it Earth 2. And she tells Jonas that, you know, you need to come with me. It's not a matter of where we're traveling in time. It's a matter of where we're traveling to a different world. So coming off of that, kind of diving into this new season, we're in a new world. You know, things are somewhat familiar, as we see from the first couple episodes, but this world is missing something. A critical part of this new world is missing, and we see how things kind of shape up. We have kind of different origins. We have different families kind of situated. We have different people living in different houses. So within those first couple episodes, I thought it was just so fascinating to kind of see. This show is so incredible to me, the way it's so thought out and so put together, that this season was a origin season, was a prequel, was a sequel, was almost like a reboot in a certain extent, and it answered all of the questions within 8 episodes. And this, I love that some of the episodes were like an hour, 9 minutes, hour, 4 minutes to kind of extend some of the storylines. So I just thought this season did a good job of adding in these elements that made me a little nervous that they weren't going to stick the landing, but of course they stuck the landing with the show. Coming off of some other positives, you know, this show goes without saying, I have to give it up to Netflix in regards to, you know, I watch a lot of Netflix content, as you all know, that's been part of this community for a while, movies, shows, and everything in between. And they make a lot of stuff that hits and they make a lot of stuff that misses. But one of the things I can always applaud Netflix for is giving their creators the space to be creators, you know, and that can be a good thing in this case for this show and other shows and movies, and that can be a bad thing when you get some things that just like, why did they make this? Why did they fund this film or TV show? But that's not the case with this. So I have to applaud Netflix, because I couldn't imagine being in that room when the creators of Dark pitched them this series and just being like, wait, how does this person, what timeline, what do you want to do with this show? I couldn't imagine anyone else giving them the budget, because this show, the production of this season in particular, all the seasons have been beautiful, but this season, because we're such on a grand scale, and again, we're talking about multiple dimensions, we have special effects galore, we have just beautiful scenery, we're in different locations. I mean, this show is just like, I'm curious to know what the budget of the show is, because it is a grandioso type of approach to this series. But, again, Netflix just did a good job of giving them, the creators, the space they needed and to tell their story. Which transitions to some other positive about this season and this series. Kudos to the creators. They had a plan. It is so obvious when you watch a show or a movie, and you can tell that they had it all thought out. It wasn't just flying at the boot of their pants. They weren't just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. They were able to answer questions that they posed all the way in season 1, season 2, and even the big questions they even posed in this season. They were able to answer everything, like the 3 unknown characters. We get a new character, Eva. We get a couple other characters that I want to mention until I get into the spoilers, that they were able to pose these new questions, these new scenarios, this new world, and answer the questions within this season as well as the previous 2. The creators of the show is so incredible. This is one of those instances where, based off of what I saw from these creators, whenever I see their name attached to any project, I'm going to be on board for it. Whether it's TV, movie, producer, whatever, I have that much faith in them that if their names are attached to something, it's going to be hit or miss maybe, but it's going to be well thought out. It's going to be planned. It's going to be methodical, and I'm going to always be fans of theirs based off of the show. I can't go without praising the performances. Again, our main cast of crew from Earth 1, from Earth 2, our main families, of course, Jonas, Martha, the whole damn crew, Claudia, of course, there's just so many great characters, Hannah, Noah, Adam, the new characters of this season. This show just does such a great job of putting the cast together. The cast does a great job of delivering an epic sci-fi family drama. It hit me in the emotional feels, guys. Like, I teared up quite a few times in this season finale, series finale, especially when it came to the last moments of this season. It was beautiful, but transitioning into maybe some criticism that I have with this season in particular. I will say, again, this is a very challenging show, and let me know in the comments if you guys are in the same boat. When we were like at episode 5, I believe it was called New Worlds or Life or Death. I'm gonna have to look it up right quick. Yeah, Life or Death, which is an hour and 4-minute episode, very detailed episode. But there was a part in episode 5 where I'm just like, I don't know how they're going to answer these questions, but there were some moments throughout this season where I'm just like, guys, you only got a couple episodes left to finish this up. You guys are still adding in new lore, new mythologies, new characters. You got to wrap it up pretty soon. But nevertheless, they did wrap it up, as I mentioned in my positive. But I got a little nervous there. I thought that the show did kind of pose some interesting aspects of the show that made me a little bit nervous as far as execution. And speaking of execution, there were some characters that I think they got a satisfying conclusion. Most characters got a conclusion, but there were some mysterious aspects from some of the origins of certain characters that I won't mention until I get into the spoilers that I wish would have maybe been looked into a little bit more. But, I assume, again, I have a lot of faith in these creators that if they didn't dive into it, there was probably no purpose to it and wouldn't add anything to the story. If there were any other criticisms, there was a little bit of repetitiveness in this season. Where, again, without giving too much away until I get into spoilers, where we're in this new world and it's kind of playing from the same elements of the first season. So it was just kind of like we're, watching the same thing happen twice to a certain extent. Different people interacting with each other, different affairs, different people are married to each other. But more or less, the moral of the particular season was still kind of a coincidence of what happened in the first season. So that was just kind of like, okay, we've seen this before. Can we dive into new territory? It ended up working out for itself, but it kind of made me a little nervous. It's like, oh, I've seen this before. And this is just a little pet peeve of mine with this show in particular. There is a couple moments where it's just like, okay, this is like for the effect of entertainment value, which is, the show is very methodical, compelling, fascinating, incredibly made. But there are moments where it's just like, you're watching a show for the entertainment and the shock value, where it's just like, I don't know how many times in this season where someone's walking and opens a door and it's just like the camera pans and just like, who's behind door number 1 or who's behind the mask. That kind of got a little like repetitive and kind of got a little bit like entertaining value, shock value, a little bit overlord for that, a little bit too much uses for that, but that's just a minor thing. Nevertheless, guys, what I'm getting at is this was an incredible season. This stuck the landing for me. Without getting into the spoilers, I thought it was phenomenal. Cinematography, the score, of course, was incredible. The direction, the acting, the storytelling. And I think season 3 might be my favorite season so far. Season 1 was up there for me for the longest. And again, I just watched these shows within the last 4 or 5 days. So I can't wait to watch this. Number one, I can't wait to watch this without being like I gotta pay attention. I can't wait to sit back and watch it and enjoy it for what it is. And still pay attention and maybe catch things that I missed through my first watch. But nevertheless, I'm so excited to rewatch this from season 1 all the way to season 3 to, just to see again how they did such a great job at this. This is the best show I've ever seen in regards to the sci-fi genre, family drama, thriller, mystery. The acting was incredible. Again, this is one of those projects where whenever I see the creator's name behind any project, I'm going to be on board with it. When I see these actors pop up and things, I'm going to get so excited. Best show on Netflix, in my opinion, and my favorite show of 2020 so far. What an incredible journey. I am so glad I finally watched the show. I'm so glad I'm part of this community that are fans of this show. And I'm going to have more conversations, guys. I'm thinking about doing like a live stream and inviting some people on and just talking about our fandom of this series. So 10 out of 10, A+, whatever you want to call it, must-see TV. I love season 3. So now that's my non-spoiler comments about season 3 and the series as a whole. Let's talk about the spoilers. So full spoilers on the screen, as you can see now. I'm going to dive into it. This might be 10 to 15 minutes. I don't know. This is a discussion. I'm going to be all over the place. Stick with me. Bear with me. My theories, my comments, my concerns. Let's just have a fun conversation in the comments below. So if you've seen season 3, you've seen the entire series, leave your comments below, please. This is the interaction part of the video. So first and foremost, let me just dive into my overall thoughts of the undertone of this season. So this is just my theory. This is just my thoughts on kind of the understanding of what kind of went down. So we have Hill, we have the clockmaker, who I looked as, again, this is just my thoughts, looked as in a biblical sense, he was like God, essentially, right? As we know what Adam said in season 2, time is God, God is time. So he is the creator of time in a certain extent, right? And he created his time machine to save his family. You know, if he's God, saving his family, saving Jesus, a different play on the Bible, if you want to say it that. I'm not the most well-knowledge when it comes to like remembering the stuff I learned when I was, when I went to church a lot and when I went to school, but bear with me. So we have the time creator, Tannenhouse, the God creator. He creates this machine, his time machine in 1986, and he creates 2 worlds. Very similar to the Bible. We have Adam and we have Eva. We have Jonas, we have Martha. In the Bible, if you guys remember the story of Adam and Eve, they had their paradise. They had everything to their disposal. God told them not to eat the tree, the apple off the tree. They did, and we saw what happened. Some may say that's the creation of humanity, right? You have 2 people, they have kids, they have offsprings, very similar to Jonas and Martha. All hell falls apart, right? We see that there's incest within the first earth. There's people that have their daughters are their moms are their daughters, this, that, and the other. It just created chaos, right? So that's kind of my thought on this season, this show, this series is kind of their play on the Bible in a certain sense. Again, just recapping, you have, Tannenhouse as the clock creator, the time maker as God. He creates this machine that makes 2 worlds, Earth 1, Earth 2, and we have the origin world, which we'll talk about here, but he creates these 2 worlds, and again, in both of these worlds, it's chaotic. Again, you got people dying left and right. You have people having tragic endings. We're going to talk about the deaths in this season, but you have people that are dying, they're sleeping with one another, there's affair, there's lies, there's cheating, there's secrets. Again, going back to what I remember from the Bible, that's the same thing with Adam and Eve. Since when they took the tree or the apple, they bit into the apple, the serpent came to them, and all hell broke out. And to a certain extent, this is where humanity, this is what we come to be. We lie, we cheat, we steal, we kill. All that stuff comes about it based on a decision of Adam and Eve and their creation, right? And kind of their sin, their ultimate sin. So that's why I kind of looked at the show. You have characters like Noah, who, again, in the Bible, Noah two of everything, two animals, his family, and some people think that that journey that Noah was on was kind of the second coming or the third coming of the earth, and there might have been some incest on Noah's family to create more people to populate the world. So Noah created Charlotte. We saw what happened with Noah. We saw the creation of him and kind of his journey, how he was doing right by killing those kids and going on the directions of what he was given by Adam. So to me, the show was just had a lot of religious undertones, and it was like, this is our spin on the Bible story, right? So I thought that was pretty fascinating. Let me know if I'm kind of way off base, if you guys were thinking the same thing, or let me know some of your theories in regards to some of the undertones or some of the storytelling elements within this season. So now let's kind of get into those characters, those deaths. I thought that this season, as we all might have remembered in this show, everyone that was intertwined with Martha and Jonas, they died pretty horribly. I think of how Hannah died. Her son killed her own son, Adam, a.k.a. Jonas, killed his mom in the bed as she came back to 1910, I believe. So killed by his own son. Hannah, that character was just, let me know your thoughts on Hannah. She was just something else, wasn't she? Such a sweet little innocent girl till she lied, in season 1 about Ulrich and what he did to Katerina. I mean, really interesting character Hannah was, right? And very interesting to see that she was one of the survivors in the origin Earth Prime, if you want to call it that for my comic book fans. But we see how she dies. Katerina, we see how she dies. What an interesting story that she had when she goes back to Earth 1 and her own mother kills her. That was a really big moment for me. I'm just like, I thought that she was going to kill her mom, which to a certain extent, as we saw her relationship with her mom, which again, the show is so incredible that even the smallest characters get a little bit of an origin story. We see that Katerina's mom, how she meets Hannah, how she has an abortion, but she keeps Katerina, and we see why she's kind of abusive because she's not really fit to be a mom. But I love that we get that kind of that story because Katerina, she sticks up for herself because she was abused as a kid. I thought that just, again, the storytelling is so incredible. But she was killed by her mom, again, showing you the whole, this earth, everything is not meant to be in these tragic endings. We have Peter who died, who got stabbed in the neck. That was such a sad moment. We all saw it coming. Noah gave us, they foreshadowed it that he was going to die. But that moment when he was trying to protect Elizabeth was such a sad moment for me. And seeing Noah, again, who I think, I mentioned in my season 2 review, Noah, even though he was a bad guy and somewhat of a good guy, and we know why he was manipulated and how he was thinking he was doing the right thing. But I thought that actor that played Noah was such a great actor, and he's so menacing and just such a great performance. But we see how all of that kind of played out, where we see Noah's origins and who his parents are, Bartos and all that stuff. It's just such an integral show. I'm just trying to touch on all these characters. Again, we learn from Jonas and Martha, Adam and Eva, their origin stories, how Adam wants to stop the world from, wants to stop everything. He wants to kill the origin, which he thinks is the child of the birth of, of their child, which we find out is the unknown people, which I thought were very menacing, very integral parts to this season. I thought that was a pretty big reveal, kind of in episode 4, I believe, when they revealed that to us. And we see how everything plays out with Martha. Her whole plan is, Eva, is she wants the loop to continue. She wants them not to stay together. But the hero of the show, guys, whether you like it or not, you might love Martha and Jonas, who I love all these characters, but it was Claudia. She saved the day, guys. She saved it. The show is about survival, and for the longest, she wanted to save her daughter. And she find out that even though that she's Earth 1, Earth 2, her daughter dies in both Earths. So that was the kind of Jesus moment, the lightning bolt, the light hit the her mind in a sense of, this is how we're going to save everyone. We got to go to the origin Earth. We got to stop, the clockmaker, and we got to, catch that time. We got to catch everything in between time, which I thought that sequence was so phenomenal when we saw Martha and Jonas kind of in space and time, kind of reminded me of Interstellar. Such a beautiful shot. And again, this is all over the place, but I'm just kind of thinking off top, no notes, just authentic, raw emotions, just kind of talking about it in the comments, guys. Let me know your thoughts on all these stuff I'm talking about right now. But that moment where we see Martha and Jonas in prime Earth after they saved Tannehill's kids, or his son and his daughter-in-law and his grandchild, Charlotte, the moment where Jonas tells Martha, we're perfect together. It wouldn't be any other way. I'm botching what he says to her, but that moment that got to me like emotionally, because this is such a well-earned, deserved, emotional moment by these characters, such a powerful moment by those characters, and I love that. And it wasn't, correct me if I'm wrong, that wasn't necessarily wrong of them to love each other, right? Because that's Earth 1, Jonas, and that's Earth 2, Martha, so they're not related because Jonas was not created in Earth 2, so it was okay for them to love each other, right? Even though in Jonas's world that was his auntie, I think it was okay for them to ultimately love each other, and we see the after effects of that. Kind of reminded me of Endgame and Infinity War, where they're all going into existence, and everyone that stayed, let's talk about that final scene, everyone at that table, they weren't tied to the origins, right? They weren't connected to the, everything that went down on those 2 prime Earths. So, that moment where we see Hannah, who has the child with the cop whose name is slipping my mind right now, who I thought we were going to learn what happened to his eye in the show, just kind of a wink and nod at the audience, like, no, we're not going to tell you that one thing. But I love that, Hannah says, she wants to name her son Jonas, which leads the audience to believe, okay, Jonas is going to come to this earth, and I think things are going to work out for him, because we do have a moment of darkness, when the lights go out, but then we have a moment of light. And she has that deja vu moment. She tells everyone, what they wish if it was in the world. And we see Katarina where she says the end of Winden, and the lights blink on again. And we see Peter say, well, that's Winden saying that it's not going to go anywhere. So I love that ending. I love the wrap up, the closure of the show, of the season, and everything. Questions that may have been left off the table. I mentioned Peter just right now. We don't know who his mother was. His mother was clearly not an important character because we didn't know who his father, who he slept with, to have Peter as a son. And that was kind of left off the table. Again, the cop and his eye and his arm missing. That's, I guess, just like a funny thing for the show. And those are just kind of the other things that just kind of come to mind in regards to unanswered questions that I can think of that just probably weren't critical to the show. As I kind of look through these characters, make sure I touch on all the characters. Alexander, Boris, we find out, obviously we knew that he killed that the guy 33 years ago, and that wasn't too critical to the show. So I'm just looking through it, guys. I think the show answered all my questions, satisfied ending, stuck the landing. Again, let me know your thoughts on what I thought about the biblical undertone of the show and kind of the understanding of Adam and Eve and the creation of these 2 earths, this prime earths, the time maker being God at a certain extent, metaphorically speaking. Let me know if you guys are on the same page with me, or if you think it's something a little bit more in depth, or if you are on the same page with me in regards to the Bible undertones. Let me know if there's some other characters that you can relate to in the Bible to this particular story. So all in all, wrapping this up, spoiler discussion, review, comments. This is just one of the best shows ever. I'm so glad I watched it, caught up with it. Can't wait to watch it again in a sense of just relaxing, sitting back, and just enjoying it for what it is. And again, looking for maybe Easter eggs that I missed the first viewing. This is a show that I want to continue to talk about again. I'm thinking about doing like a YouTube live stream and having some guests on and just having a discussion like we're having right now and just get their thoughts on the show and their theories, their comments, their concerns. So I'm thinking about doing that maybe within the next week or so and see if, those people that I'm thinking of right now, if they've caught up with it and if they will want to be part of this conversation. So I love Dark season. If I were to rank them right now, I think just from immediacy, obviously I just saw season 3, but I think season 3, 1 and 2, kind of in that order. It can obviously change in the future, in the time as time goes by. But I love this show. I can't recommend it enough. I'm going to continue to talk about this show. I'm so glad to be part of this community, of this fandom. The best sci-fi show I've ever seen, and I'm so happy that Netflix has it on its platform, and everyone talks about like I said, I watch a lot of content on Netflix, and there's a lot of good, there's a lot of bad, but it shows like this, Stranger Things, Orange is the New Black, to wherever, I think I finished like season 3 of that. I mean, they have incredible content. Their movies obviously are incredible when it comes to, in the last 4 or 5 years, from Beast of No Nation, Irishman, Roma, Marriage Story. They have some great content, and kudos to Netflix for giving those creators the opportunity to tell their story, which was the best story that I've seen, handling time travel and all the stuff that came with it. So that's just my spiel on Dark Season 3. Again, guys, like, share, comment, subscribe. Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section, your theories, your concerns, your pros, your cons, and just everything. Let's just talk about it. And let me know if you guys would be interested in me doing a YouTube live talking about this show and having like a discussion panel about this show, about all the stuff about it. So as always, thank you for watching this video. Check out my other videos I did for the show, season 1 and 2 reviews. Check out my other content that I recently did on this channel. More to come this week. Thank you guys for watching this video. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon.